Remembering those who lost their lives during a battle we're still trying to win, and that's against the coronavirus. The U.S. death toll from the virus is now approaching a staggering 100,000, eclipsing that of the wars in Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. The New York Times called it a, quote, incalculable loss, as the paper covered its front page with the names of Americans who have lost their lives to COVID-19. 1,000 names printed on the cover. And on the inside of the paper, just a fraction, 1% of the deaths so far. Another headline that sums up the weekend comes from the Washington Post, quote, on weekend dedicated to war dead, Trump tweets insults, promotes baseless claims, and plays golf. The president visited his golf club in Virginia on Saturday and Sunday. He said nothing about the rising death toll and the incredible milestone of 100,000 dead that we are approaching. But he found time to retweet garbage. Well, horrible things about people who he considers his critics. He sat there, like maybe in his golf cart, I don't know, from the golf course, tweeting and retweeting horrible things about people. Well,
it is shocking, Mike, that he would make fun of Stacey Abrams' weight. Of course, you can look at the president and ask whether he has no mirrors in the White House or not, but making fun of a black woman's weight, which he did via tweet, calling a former Secretary of State and a former presidential candidate a, quote, skank, repeatedly making fun of Nancy Pelosi's appearance and also her age. And we don't want to get into it much here, but also being extraordinarily cruel to a family who are not public figures. And he did this over Memorial Day weekend. And he did this as the New York Times moved towards 100, showed us how much closer we are to 100,000 deaths, and just the absolute scale and the humanity of this loss.
But, Joe, is it really shocking that he did this? This is a cruel, damaged human being who goes out of his way to harm people. And he goes out of his way without seeing these people. He would never utter a single negative response to any of the people that he attacked on Twitter over the weekend if it were eye-to-eye contact. He is afraid of that. He is afraid of the repudiation, but he's afraid of the physicality of it. He's afraid of looking at someone in the eye and saying what he says on Twitter to them. He would never, ever do that. And the front page of the New York Times, was a reminder to him and to everyone in this nation that these people listed in the Times, in three full pages, actually, they were your friends. They were your neighbors. They were us. And we were told as a nation many, many times, you've gone over it many, many times, Joe, there is no threat here. It's one person from China. It's 15 people from China, and we just sent them back to China. The level of threat has never been addressed. The level of responsibility will never be addressed. And on Memorial Day, 2020, a sacred day, especially where I'm from. I grew up at a time when Memorial Day was Memorial Day. There were no sales at Home Depots. There were no large-scale picnics. It was to honor the dead. I grew up in a Gold Star household. My Uncle Jerry was killed at Midway. And like all of the people listed yesterday in the Times, and all of the people who will be memorialized at cemeteries around this country today, my Uncle Jerry, Second Lieutenant Gerald J. Barnacle, killed at Midway on June 4th, 1942, he never died. His memory lived, and he lives today through me, as will all those people who were listed in the Times yesterday. And that's what Donald Trump fails to grasp.
And as we saw in that beautiful video coming in at the 6 o'clock hour, they are bold angels now. They serve as a constant reminder to us of the responsibility we owe to this country.